Okay, turning the following into from decimals into percentages. Oh boy. Oh, this is.
Garrett.
Mark.
R2D2.
Quit glitching my.
R2D2.
Like, okay, we remember.
I didn't even touch
Shh, I'm just kidding. When you remember that when you do a decimal into a percentage, you know that you're multiplying by 100. Okay, which is you guys just have remembered it as move the decimal 2 places to the right. And what I see way too much is I just see, oh, I just moved that thing all the way to the right, and I make it 83%. And some of you think that's the right way, but it's always 2 places. There's 1 place it moved, there's 2. 0.83 becomes 83%. Well, then those same people that just simply moved the decimal all the way to the right, they miss this second one right here. Because they go, oh, well, that equals 12%. Is that correct?
No.
No, it can't be. It has to move 2 places. So that's 1 place there. 1 more would make it 120%. Okay? 2 places. Remember this whole thing that I did? 1.2 is out of actually per 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need it to be per 100. So times 100 times 100. Remember that? We did that at the beginning? 120, exactly. Okay, here. 2 places to the right. 1, 2. Okay? So that's going to become 0.64%. As I walked around, I noticed a lot of you weren't putting your percent sign on there. Make sure it is there. Okay? All right. Okay. Turning anything into a fraction in simplest form. Now the percentages are easy. The percentages are very easy, right? Because you know that all percentages are over what?
100.
100, absolutely. And then from there, you can just type in 24, ABC, 100, and I think that simplifies to 6/25.
Yeah.
You would need to I will not accept 24 over 100. It has to be in simplest form. Do we understand that?
Yes.
Okay, that's the first thing. Second one here, again, same deal. 36 over 100, you simplify it, you're going to get, what is it, 9/25?
Yeah.
9/25. Okay? Very easy. Those are the easy ones when there are percentages from the beginning, right? Now they get a little harder. Now I saw some of you turning this into a percentage, and then you're going, okay, 1, 2. That means it's 80%, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know all percentages are over what?
100.
100, and then you're getting 4/5. But let's stop here. Somebody read that number to me. Without so let me rewrite it. 0.80. How do you say that number? When I say it, I mean say it with the place value in place. Yes? It is 8/10, or you could write 80/100. I would accept either one. 8/10, or it is 80/100. It doesn't make a difference, does it? And then when we simplify this, don't we get 4/5 in the end?
Oh, yeah.
Now, thanks, Mark. That's, whoops, that's not the right thing. All right, so the problem with doing it this way, right here, is what you're going to find out in the next one. That is why this way over here is the better way. You read the decimal with the place value. Just to recap, place value, just so we are aware. This first one is called the?
100.
No.
No, shit.
That'd be the tenths. This would be the hundreds.
I was close.
And then this would be the thousands.
$100.
If you don't know the, shh, you gotta be quiet because the thing's on, so it's gonna be picking up everything.
Oh, shoot.
1,000. No, it's on. So you gotta know those place values. So I have told you before, that's one thing that a lot of 6th graders struggle with coming in. You gotta be able to know how to read these numbers. Okay? Getting down here, you guys that use this method right here, the same method we used right here that I rectangled in here, you moved the decimal and you went 1.5 over 1,000. Now you cannot have decimals in fractions. You can't do it. You can't. This is not simplified. If you type this in your calculator, 1.5 ABC 1000, it will say syntax error because you cannot have decimals in a fraction. Now you can have decimals and ratios, but that's why you can't do it this way. Okay? I didn't mean to write 1,000. That's supposed to be 100. Sorry. It should be 100. So now, going back here, I read this as what? How do I read that number, Max? No. You gotta, I just said this. I just went over it on the previous one. You have to be able to read it with the place value. Yes. It is 15 You don't even worry about the zeros. You just say the number that you see, thousands. 15 thousandths.
Couldn't you do like 3
Fifth. What?
3 200s?
Okay, you read the number as 50. I'm getting there. You read the number as 15 thousandths. Now, that is the correct fraction. However, the directions up there do say in simplest form. So from there, you just go ahead and simplify it to 3 200ths. And that's it. That's what you would have gotten. Okay, let's do another one of those. Okay, shh. Okay, so again, here's your decimal. It is, you have to know how to read them. If you don't know your place values, you need to study them or you will not do well. Okay, I'm not going to give them to you on the test. You need to know them. That's an elementary skill. Okay, you need to know these place values. And there's only one way to know them, and that's to, I hate to use the word memorize because I don't like that word, because memorizing and learning are two different things. But this is one of those deals where you kind of got to memorize it. You just got to memorize what place value. Whenever you see a decimal, guys, you have to just read the number as what you see. And since there's no numbers in the ones place value, or no whole numbers, I just read the number as 722. And then whatever the last number that I say, which is 2, whatever place value that has, that's going to be my denominator. So this fraction right here would be 722 over 1,000, which is 722 thousandths. Does that make sense? Okay? And then you can use the ABC button to simplify if you'd like. What's that going to give me? 361 over 500?
Yeah.
361 over 500. Okay? Here we go. Read this number. That is 28 thousandths, right?
Yes.
And I know that because I just read the number, because there's a 0 there, so I don't have to worry about saying 722. I just read it as 28. And since the 8 is in the thousandths, it's 28 thousandths. What does this simplify to? Okay, this one here, 925. What place value does the 5 have, Xavier? This 5 has tenths.
Oh,
Thousandths. 925 thousandths. What does this simplify to? 37 40ths. Okay? And then here, I just read what I see. That's 3. What place value does the 3 have, Grant? So this is just simply 300ths. Which makes sense because wouldn't you move the decimal to make it 3%?
yeah.
And that does not simplify. It's already in simplest form. Are we clear on these now?
Yep.
Feel better on those ones?
Yeah.
Okay. Guys. Okay, so here we go. This would be learning target number 7, finding the percent when given the part and the whole. But right here, Xavier, write this down, please. We start every time with this right here. And I've been proud of most of you. As I watched and walked around, I see everybody starting here, and I appreciate that. Because I'm not doing it to give you extra work. I'm just trying to help you guys to organize your thoughts. It's kind of like edge pieces. Some of you thought edge pieces were unnecessary, but you can't deny that it does at least help you just get everything organized. This is no different. You start here. Then you read it. Mark got 24 questions correct out of a total of 30 questions. What percent did he get correct? So, do we know the percentage, guys?
No.
But when we find the percent, what is it going to represent? Preston?
No. He got right.
Yeah, it's going to be the amount that he got correct. But that's the percent he got correct. This over here is going to be the real amount that he got correct. Does that make sense how we're lining up labels? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, good. This would be the total. This would be the total. So then you just have to line it up. Okay, he got 24 correct out of 30. We cross multiply and divide. We get 80%. Okay, cool. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Go ahead.
Already did.
Good job.
Okay. 25% of the flowers in my flower bed are daisies. There are 16 daisies. Okay, so right away, I go ahead and get my proportion on there. I do my part to my whole, all that. Okay. And put my 100 there. That's the way we start every time. And then I identify this, right? You always identify that percentage, correct? Okay, so I go ahead and put that. That always goes over 100. What is that 25%? What does it mean in this problem, Sammy? Yeah, but what does it mean in the problem? I've asked this every time. Yeah, there's 25% of them are daisies. Okay? Then I know that over here, this is the actual amount of daisies, and this is the total flowers, all the flowers, total flowers, whatever you want to call them. Okay? What is given? Is the number of daisies given, or is the number of total flowers given? Yep, daisies. So there it goes there. Then we cross multiply and divide. The answer is 64 total flowers in a flower bed. Okay? 64. Okay, here we go. A couple more, then we'll do a tax and tip problem here.
What?
Did I spell that right?
Garrett needs to be in this.
No, that's Allie spent
Yeah.
80% of
Don't do it. Guys, wait. Don't start because there's a twist to this one.
The Budweiser commercial.
Be quiet, Gabe.
Oh.
Can you guys please be quiet? Please. I only spent 80% of her allowance on cheeseburgers.
Good job. That's my girl.
He spent $1 million. That's how you spell it. W.
Yes. Grab a piece of paper out.
I get you first.
$40.
Oh my god.
Strip diagram.
She was like that.
Figure out how much spent on cheeseburgers. Go. Remember, notice what I says there. You got to use a strip diagram. Now, if you guys want, guys, can you stop talking, please? You don't know what a strip diagram is? Well, then I guess you won't know on Thursday. Then you better figure it out. Piece of paper. Just one strip diagram question. You can now. You're more than welcome to use proportion to. I can't answer that. That's the whole point of the question, man.
Oh yeah,
That's,
now I remember.
that's the
it.
whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a strip.
Think about it, Nick. Think about what I've told you, all the strategies I've given you. I told you the strategy I wanted you to use was to do your proportion first, then make the strip. Because once you figure out what it's giving you, if it gives you the whole, then you know the whole strip represents the whole. It gives you a part, then the whole strip doesn't equal that other number. Okay?
Got the answer. Slow down. Grab. They will. Is this right?
What? Yep.
No.
What?
I got it.
Dollar sign comes before.
Because it's dollar. Tristan.
What?
$1.32. Dollar. Yeah, that makes sense, Brent.
Shh. Guys,
Wait, why does the dollar sign come before the number instead of after?
it just comes before. It's just the way it is.
But you don't say it's $32. You say $32.
Gotta
keep that on.
Oh, I do the money.
Guys, Tristan, go do this problem, please. Tristan, you didn't answer this question. Come here.
Oh shoot.
Oh, just
You
need
didn't
to
answer the
help.
question. It says how many days does it rain? Shh. Why are you up? I'm sick and tired of having to remind you guys to just stay seated. It's not that difficult, right? Okay? Other people are working. Let's be respectful of them. Nick, did you figure it out?
Yeah, I think so.
Xavier, did you figure it out?
I think so.
Gabe, one more time I have to ask you to knock it off, and I'm just going to send you the whole way. And then I'm going to contact you. I'm because you know that singing isn't appropriate. I've already warned you about 7 times. It's not that difficult.
Brave fun.
Remember, it's 80%. It's the percents it's given. So what's the only way you can spell the strip out of it?
Brave fun. Press this. Brave fun.
Allie, cheeseburger geek.
Brave
I'm
fun.
on an all cheeseburger diet.
Yeah, that's a good diet to have.
Brave
Basically, you just don't
fun.
have to go to
Brave
McDonald's.
fun.
All these things.
Brave fun. Let's do the
Just really shoot on the ground. Did you do it? This one too. Come here.
I've lost it to sing.
Good answer.
I keep forgetting my
You guys are work.
I remember my.
All right. Shh. One more minute. Did we get it?
I never reminded of it. I invited to make my tea walk. I do it just to split it. I can remember.
$40.
No, wait.
All right. Let me go over it so we can get to a tax and tip problem. Guys, I need you to listen, please. Listen. Okay, guys, now listen. Still, there are some of you that are struggling with this. Okay? I told you that I wanted you guys to start with the proportion. And the reason that I want you to always start with the proportion, now not everybody in here needs to do this, but most of you. And here's the reason, Xavier, listen. Okay? Well, I'll get to the reason in a minute. Let's just read it. Allie spent 80% of her allowance on cheeseburgers. Her allowance is $40. Make a strip diagram to figure out how much she spent on cheeseburgers. Now, the percent here is 80, right? Now, what is 80% representing, Allison? What is it representing? What is that? What does it mean in the problem? Yeah, it's the amounts she spent on cheeseburgers, CB, cheeseburgers. Okay, so then this is the actual amount she spent on cheeseburgers. This would be her total allowance. This would be her total allowance. Is that cool so far? The reason why is, what does the whole strip represent always?
100%.
100%. Okay, that's the thing I'm trying to get you guys to see. And this is where some of you don't understand what I'm doing here, and that's why I'm trying to explain it here. So listen. This amount right here, some of you are trying to figure out, is that the whole or the part? Okay, that's what is troubling to you guys when you're doing just the strip diagrams. That's why I tell you to do the proportion. Because if when you do the proportion, if you figure out that this is the other number, in this case the $40, then that means the whole thing equals 40, doesn't it? But if you figure out that, let's say I said, well, I'll do that in a minute. I'll do the opposite here in a second. So this obviously would be $40. You're trying to find a part. So you know the whole strip equals $40. Everybody clear so far? 40 bucks. Okay? I see 80%, so I know there's only 4 ways I can cut a strip diagram up. Xavier,
Oh.
you can cut it up into 2 sections of 50%, 4 pieces of 25%, 5 pieces of 20%, or 10 pieces of 10%. You could use either of the last 2 I just said. I'm just going to cut it into 5 pieces of 20. Those of you that did 10% sections, that's fine. Doesn't make a difference. So what I know is that this is 20%, this is 20%, this is 20%, this is 20%, and this is 20%. Okay? All of them 20%. Well, then what I got to do is I got to take this amount of money, that $40, I got to divide that up by however many groups I'm cutting this thing into. I divide it by 5. That gives me $8 in each one. $8 in each one. $8 in each one. So now I'm trying to find 80%. So that's how many of these sections makes up 80%, Zach? Four of them, right? How much money is in my shaded area right there? $32. 8 times 4, or 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. Cool? Now, let me come at this from a slightly different angle here. Okay? Let's say that the question stated this. Instead of it saying that her allowance was $40, what if it said she spent $32 on hamburgers or cheeseburgers. Okay, what if it said that? Well, now, listen very closely, please. You guys don't have to do it, just watch. This is the opposite type of problem. First, I start with my my proportion, same way. This is parts whole, equals percent over 100. 80% goes there. Everything still clear? 80% is the amount of cheeseburgers. This is the actual amount of cheeseburgers, or the money spent on cheeseburgers. This would be the total allowance. The total allowance. Now I look at this number. Are they giving me a part or a whole? They're giving you a part now, because that's just the percent of cheeseburgers. They're trying to figure out the whole amount. They're trying to figure out how much she totally got for allowance. So what that means to you guys is, when you're trying to find the whole, you know that this whole strip does not equal $32. Okay? Does that make sense? $32 goes with 80%. Okay, so we're still going to cut it the same way. We're still going to cut it into 20% sections, or 10. Doesn't matter. 20%, 20%,
4 of those equals
20%, what?
4 of those little boxes equals $32, right?
Yes, exactly. So, as Mark just said, what I'm trying to show you is it's saying, okay, that's green pen, not green highlighter. Okay, see what this is right here, the shaded area, that's 80%, right?
Yeah.
How much money, oh my gosh, how much money is in that section right there?
$32.
$32, because I was only given a part. I was only given the 80%. So now I take that $32 and I got to divide it into how many groups?
4.
And that's where you get $8 in each group. So to figure out how much her total allowance is, we got to add up every section. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Do we see how I used a proportion to figure that out?
Yeah.
When I was given the whole, I knew that the whole strip equaled that whole amount.
Yeah.
When I was given the part, asked for the whole, then I had to do a little bit more work. That's the one you guys are struggling with, this one. Okay, one more. Oops. Okay? Do it. Okay, so I know that my food bill is $24.60. Guys, quit working. Just listen to me. You can practice this on your own time. Okay, I have extra worksheets if you just want to get practice on this alone. I have them back here if you want them. Okay? You have to figure out what 8.5% of 2460 is. Right, guys? I got to convert this to a decimal, which would be 0.085. Everybody clear so far?
Yeah.
Times 2460. Does anybody got the answer for that? Wait, let me just pull it up. 0.085 times 24.60. That, how much money is that, guys?
$2.
It's
9
not,
cents.
yes, $2.09, exactly.
I got it.
209. What is that amount right there? That is tax. That's how much will go to the government. Okay? So now what do I got to do? I have to take my food amount, and I got to take my tax amount, and I need to do what with them?
Add 'em up.
Add them up. When I do that, I get 26.69.
Wait, couldn't you round?
No,
No, couldn't you round like the 9, the pennies to 10 9?
no, because you always round to the pennies.
Oh,
So right here, guys, it's 209. If that one was a 5 or more, then you would round it. So 26.29, now we got to figure out what 22% of that is. So 0.22 times 26.69. Pull that up in the calculator. Okay, 0.22 times 26.69 equals, how much money is that? $5.87. Remember, that is just the tip amount. So what do I need to do to my tip and that amount right there? Add them up.
And you get 32.56.
Let's just figure it. I'll just do it. So 26.69 plus 5.87 gives me 32.56.
Oh, I got it right. I fixed it.
Okay.
when I did the
So you guys need to practice these. Hold up, guys. Okay, here we go. This question right here, you already had it on your formative. Doesn't matter. It's about the process, not about the answer. And everybody's eyes up here, please. around and look. Thank you. Okay, so we start with this proportion every single time. If 49% of the 600 people went snowboarding at Ogle Bay Resort, how many went snowboarding? What's the first thing we always identify, Jennifer? The percentage, exactly. Put that there. Now somebody tell me, what does the 49% actually represent? Like in the problem, what does it mean? Yes. It's the amount that went snowboarding. Nice job. So if that's the percent that went snowboarding, what's this part going to be? Harkin?
Whatever the percentage of the people that were snowboarding.
Or just say the actual amount of snowboarders of SB. Okay?
The rest of them.
I know.
That's considered skateboarding.
Whatever. Regardless, you guys get my point here. The snowboarding goes with snowboarders. This is the total people. So I have to recognize, is that 600 is that talking about just simply the snowboarders, or is that talking about the entire group of people there, Casey? Absolutely. So 600 will go there. You cross, multiply, and divide, you get 249 people. 249.
These are actually fun. I didn't like them. 290. I like them. It's 294.
Was that right?
No,
Whoopsies.
was wrong.
294.
It's
My bad.
294.
My mistake. Okay, stop. Sorry.
Oh my god.
Go ahead and do this one.
I got it. I already.
Listen.
I'm almost done.
I'm going to go ahead and go over it. Parts a whole equals percent over 100. Do it like that every single time. Remember the word, guys, please. There's too much talking. Part, we use the word is to help us out with the part. We use the word of to help us out with the whole at times. Now, even though that says is 48%, we know that's not the part, right?
No.
No, the percentage, you always identify percent first and put that there. Now, that says of 60, so is 60 the part of the whole?
Oh.
There you go, it's 28.8.
Woo.
I got that.
All right. Okay, so now we're going to turn these into percentages. Again, guys, you might want to write this on your paper. When you're going from decimal to percent, you multiply by 100. When you're going from percent to decimal, you do the opposite and divide by 100, okay? I mean, that might be something you may want to write down to help you. Okay, when you're turning into a percent, you multiply by 100. When you're turning into a decimal, you divide by 100. Okay? Everybody understand that? Good? So, I won't erase it, but some of you are just remembering it has two places. That's the same difference. Multiplying by 100 would mean you would move it 1 and then 2. What do I got to add in there, Mackenzie? Got to. 920%. Okay, this one here, that's the number 72. There's no decimal. If there isn't a decimal up there, where's it at? It's after the very last number, so you got to still move it 2 places to the right. 7,200. Okay, here. 1, 2. That's going to become 0.098. And don't forget your percent sign. I forgot to put that on there. Okay? Everybody cool with that?
I'm really cool.
If you left it as just .098, that's fine too. Doesn't matter. Okay?